Hello YouTube, Bradley Viking back once again. I originally tried to film this outdoors, but like on the balcony. But when you live in a condo unit, there's just always sounds going on. Cars driving, people bicycling, talking. Just was not working. So instead we come to the great indoors and my orange wall and my Deadpool blanket on my couch here. And I'm gonna talk about just what animals I believe I could take in a fight. So there's been a list, an infographic picture going around the internet lately that with the headline 6% of Americans think they could beat a grizzly bear in a fight. So I don't know where this poll was. Obviously it was presented to Americans, and me as a Canadian was not allowed to take them. I was not invited to take this poll of which animals do you think you could beat in a fight if you were unarmed. Right? Because humans can beat most animals with weapons, depending. It's like, if you had a gun, you could shoot it, or even before then, like, human beings kind of figured it out, even before guns, how to kill most of the animals on this planet. And so it just goes down percentage, and Icy Mike and Sensei Seth made a very funny video of them going down the list, and I just wanted to shoot my own thoughts because I find it fun. And also, like, in saying that, like, 6% of the people polled honestly believe they could take, like, a grizzly bear unarmed. But grizzly bear is the bottom list. We'll get to it. And I'm going to make some qualifiers because the picture I was given did not make qualifiers of the type of fight, right? Are you meeting this animal out in the wild, in its natural environment? Is this, like, strictly you have to fight to the death? Or just till one is disabled? Or is it, like, a cage match? So for my hypothetical, rather than give like actual survival advice of how to, what to do if you encounter a chimpanzee in the wild and you have to escape, because there's a difference between, okay, I have to defeat this animal with my hands and my feet, whatever, my jiu-jitsu skills, versus I just need to get out of this encounter alive. And those are two because it's like much more likely you can probably do something to get out of there with your life, to leave in peace, as opposed to cage match. You gotta beat this thing to death, and we're gonna go by cage match rules because do not consider me a wildlife expert. Like, not going to encounter with wildlife and be like, well, Bradley told me to do this, so we're going to do it. No, I mean, sometimes if I'm with you and I'm giving you advice, then maybe listen to it, because I'm not an animal expert, but I know some things. I've read some stuff. I've talked to people who know more about animals than me than I. I've been around some animals in my life. But overall, it's just more fun to be like, no, cage match, we're locked in some kind of arena. There's no escape for either one of us. Like, you have to at least incapacitate this animal before it incapacitates you. Probably kill it, but yeah. So rat, 72% of Americans think they can beat a rat. I know I've defeated a mouse, and a mouse is far small. Like, I've killed a mouse with my foot. And definitely rats are bigger than mice, like significantly so, and can chew through just about anything. And people are like scared of rats. They would flinch, they would hesitate. But if in a cage fight, like, there's no like the rat comes in and you just run away. This is the type of, it's like a trainer Pokemon battle with you're fighting against a trainer. You can't flee from that. Not like a wild Pokemon where you can just flee from the encounter. So yeah, rat, like, and that's where I think I'd be able to take the win against the rat every time. Like, and you know what? It could probably like give me some injury, like jump on my leg and like bite me, because they're pretty scrappy, they can move pretty fast. And like and just like the small thing kind of remember, like, where are you? You probably have some hesitation, especially like you might have to kick it like a couple times or like solidly stomp on a rat. Just getting violent. Where Sensei set the censor me, because I mean because like they're decent size. They could take a hit, or they could probably take a hit before you, depending on how, if you hesitate when like hitting one before it goes to sleep. And yeah, I mean, if it gets you down, like those teeth, they can chew through concrete, you hear reports of them chewing through metal. Like, if they're able to chew at you, yeah, they can definitely inflict some damage. But it's like, if you're still standing, you got a decent pair of shoes. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, because it's discussing with friends, like, oh, why are you wearing boots? We're gonna say street clothes. And like, street clothes, like, shirt, pants, t-shirt, and just like walking running shoes, not steel toe boots, because I feel like a solid pair of like steel toe hiking boots could give you a lot of advantages against a lot of the numbers on this list. Like steel toe boots, take a rat out right there. But and like that's one-on-one with a rat. Like I do think like 20 rats could actually present just as low as 20 rats could present a considerable problem. If they're like, oh, we have to get through you to get out of here, yeah. They can be quite tenacious. And 100 rats, like, that's just dangerous. And then house cat, 69%. I mean, I own a house cat. He's a complete sissy. Mine is a scaredy cat, but like others are more ferocious. But if it's like, again, cage match, it's him or me, like, no, 100% I can take a cat. I believe my ability to take a cat. I do think like it could hurt me before it went down. Definitely the one thing about a cat is like, because it can kind of twist around and, right, like get on one side, then it can turn around on you and get its claws and teeth on you if you're grabbing it. Like definitely there's no real safe way. Like if the cat is aggressive enough, there's very hard to safely grab it. Man, cat's still pretty small, still pretty vulnerable. You could, like a full-grown adult should be able to like break it. We'll say break a cat. Can I say that? But I will confess, like, they have teeth, they have sharp claws, like, all of them is covered in sharpness, so they could definitely draw some blood before going down. Then we have goose, and as a Canadian, I must think of a Canada goose, which are like, you know, cobra chickens, I think is the nickname they have. And, like, they can get pretty aggressive. And that is, yeah, like, there's a joke that we have 1,000 jokes. You know, Canadians are so nice because once a year we all hold hands and send all of our evil thoughts into the geese. And it's like, yeah, it's like the psychology is like at that point, the goose can get more aggressive and the goose can definitely get the intimidation win. It's like in the wild, yeah, the goose can get the win because it can drive you off and succeed in its objective from getting you away from its nest. Like, definitely if I'm out and about, and I see geese all the time, and I see like a little, especially if I see a family of geese, like I see the little goslings or I kind of know I'm near nesting area, I kind of take a wider path because I don't need that fight. I don't need them. And I've definitely kind of been chased off of geese. Like I remember when I was young, I didn't really know, and like getting too close, my dad like pulling me away from the geese. And like that's a decent sized bird. Yeah, a lot of it's feathers, but it's still like a large bird, and they have very powerful wings. And their bill, like to peck at you, is nothing to snap at either. So 61%. I could get like running away, but okay, I can't run. The first thing to do is to get inside of the geese, because like you hear their wings can break a man's arm. Although me and my martial arts buddy would joke like, yeah, like guys who don't work out maybe. But as a big thing is like if you're at the end of the range of the punch, you're hitting here or like the wing strike. The wing strike of the goose, then yeah, you're taking the full punishment. But if I shell up and just move in right away as it's coming at me, like yeah, I would need to steel my nerves, and that would definitely be a process. But like steel myself up, dive right in, get its body. Like people are always like, you know, get the neck, and like definitely the neck, and especially because I want to control that, because skip peck me once I'm inside. Because I feel like once it's inside my wings, I'm not getting the full arm breaking power of those blows when I get too close. But I think if I can just get the neck, get the body, and then I can finish it. Medium-sized dog, 49%, which I feel is low. So many medium-sized dogs I know. Like I know a lot of people, although I would consider that, in my mind, kind of large terrier, like pit bull size. And people are terrified of pit bulls, undeservedly so, because they are just snuggle monsters. Like their main thing is, yeah, I mean, if you turn your back, they'll steal your food, and like, but every pit bull I've known, like the only threat I felt was that they would like sit on me to death. drool on me. Actually, my sister's a Pyrenees, which is a large dog, much more truly. But they're sorry. That was my advocating for pit bulls because they are complete sweethearts. But yeah, the thing is, then I basically agree with like Icy Mike is if they get you on the ground, or if you're like crouched over and they can get like top of your body. Apparently, pit bulls are trained to go for the neck of other animals like bulls and bears. I don't know, we're focused on pit bulls, but like any dog in that kind of weight range, right? That kind of size. I feel like you need to go down, either drop to the ground or something. And they like I've wrestled with dogs, and their thing is they don't go for my legs if they kind of get freaked out. Like they jump up and like I can push it back down again. So as long as I don't slip and fall, then I'm pretty vulnerable. And I've definitely been like sat upon by lying down with dogs, but that's playful wrestling. But I usually win. So I like my odds against a medium-sized dog. Like I could definitely, if it is again, right, dire situation, it's more like I would feel really, really bad. Because I'd also feel bad about killing most cats. I mean, it depends on the cat. Eagle, 30%. This is a very situational fight. Because if we're out in the field, like an open area field, and the eagle can fly around and dive at me, it can mess me up. And there's not like, and I feel like the eagle can go in, peck and claw you, and then fly out again before you can really like gather yourself together to mount a counterattack. But again, we decided a cage match. So the eagles in more confined areas. Same with like if you're in the woods. Of course, eagles aren't going to go in the woods. That's why. So that's just an interesting thing with the eagles don't work well in confined spaces. Like a geese can kind of take off from the ground and just because they're more like I'm gonna hit you stuff. Eagles are like attack with the talons, and yeah, they got like massive. The grip strength I don't feel would come into play so much because that's more when it's carrying off their prey to their lair or whatever. But it's more just like their talons are comparable to the length of my fingers, right? Like if all of that was a sharp spike, that's actually quite a bit to get into your body. And the beak. I feel still if we're in the cage and it can't really get a flying advantage, so that's to kind of weirdly like flappingly jump at me, I could like take it. I'm definitely get a bleed from those talons and beak. I think of these so far, this is gonna cause like the most damage to me unless I can just like finish it right away. Then we have large dog, which is just not like unless it can knock you over. So a guy like me, like other than my one sister's dog, Pyrenees, whatever cross, giant basically dog. And yeah, he does this trick where he'll walk in between my legs and he'll sit and his head goes up, so it like knocks me off balance. So yes, that's a considerable threat. But again, if I can take the fight to the animal. It would be harder. I feel, yeah, it would be harder to generate enough force. But eventually, basically, like either dog, the real weakness is you get on the back, you lock the choke in, and then you just squeeze until it's over. So that's 23%. Like I feel dogs. I mean, dogs do kill people. That is a statistical fact. It's actually a funny thing when you're like, I've argued with people like, oh, coyotes roaming the neighborhoods, and like domestic dogs kill way more people because domestic dogs, I think, kill like 20 people a year in the States. And then there's been 2 humans in the past 100 years that have died from coyote attacks. So yeah, coyote just kick it off. Again, in the cage match, in the wild, like when you see them in town, just leave them alone. Let them eat some garbage. Yeah, act big and yell if they're near your kids or your dog, but whatever. Chimpanzee, 17%. Yeah, like I don't see much that I could do. Like it would definitely be a fight. Like I could bring a fight to it, but I'm not hopeful my chance is victory. Here's where I get called like a sissy. But they're just jacked, right? The fur kind of hides it, and also most chimpanzees you see on TV are usually smaller females or like babies. So like the full-grown males, which I'm assuming, like, come on, we gotta take the full-grown male in the fight. I'm not gonna fight a baby chimpanzee. I'm not a monster. Or am I? Talking about all these animals I'd fight. Yeah, they're just like, I saw a picture once where one without its fur, I don't know the circumstances, and it was just jacked. It was just all muscle. They're supposed to be 7 times stronger than a grown man, like, so 7 times stronger than me. And I'm not like a weak boy. And they got teeth, like, chimpanzees eat meat. They got big old teeth in them to eat meat. So yeah, like, it's gonna bite you, and like, they're also like, they don't care. They'll take you out. They go war with each other all the time. They apparently have like 10% like kill rates at war, which is like, actually, like, if you compare the human war statistics, is a lot. Usually human armies, like, one side will give up before it gets that bad. But yeah, it's like, sweet. This thing that could probably rip my arm out of its socket, or at least like maybe not detach the whole arm, but like rip the joint out of the socket. Well, now I can't use an arm. And sure, I could probably like, so like everything I do, like I punch it, yeah, it's gonna grab my arm and then rip it off, kick it, and then grab my leg and like pull me down. And then once I'm on the ground, I'm done. And then it can like rip me apart and beat me to death before it even starts biting me. And like, they're pretty agile. It'll, like, grab the edges of the cage. If it's a literal cage, it'll grab the cage and swing around and jump up and back. I'm not liking my chances. I'm wondering about the 15%, but I could see how like 17% of people were like, oh, I could take a chimpanzee. Like, we're talking bare hands, like King Cobra. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, unless the cobra has complied to some, like, they've recently milked it and it's out of venom, or you took out its venom glands. But then in that case, like, okay, put me with a big garter snake, and I could take that out easily. It'd be a bit like, slither around, okay, I gotta read on this, and I gotta step in the right place and stomp its head in. But cobras are pretty freaking fast. You know, they say like cobra strike is a synonym for speed. I'd make sure I was using synonym right. Cinnamon. Cobras are covered in, use cinnamon to save yourself from cobras. Don't actually do that. I have no idea how the king cobras react to spices. But I'm seeing a Pyrrhic victory for both sides. Basically, is just like a mutual kill situation with the cobra. Because I don't see a situation if I'm just wearing regular street clothes, like even wearing like blue jeans, or if it's a fight, I'm probably gonna want to wear sweats. Come on, shorts, like if it's like a UFC fight, I'm just wearing like shorts and no footwear or anything. I'm done. All the exposed flesh. Because I can't conceive of a scenario where I'm fast enough, I'm able to outspeed the cobra strike. Like, unless I'm just like, this cobra is development, like, again, and it's like a cobra is a prime. It's a sufficiently capable snake. It's getting its fangs in me before I can stomp it to death. Before I can get a hold of it. Right? You see like snake handlers, and except for like Steve frickin' Irwin, most of them use poles. Like, they all use poles to kind of chop the head. Like, Steve Irwin, yeah, he could like kind of go in there and grab a snake by the tail. He also practiced that for a long time. And I don't think he ever went against like king cobras. He went, well, like, there he some cobras, but yeah. And he had different objectives. Right? He was just trying to like hang out with the snake, be its friend. I'm trying to fight the snake, so it's gonna like, no, there's no way I'm able to go in there and inflict damage and get out without getting bitten. And if I get bitten, then I'm done. So like, all right, because like they're pretty venomous. So unless it's like there's medics standing by to give me anti-venom and save me from the fight, from this weird organized cage match we've set up, we're both taking a loss. I also don't think like it'll be, again, we're trapped in the area that I would have to look up how fast cobra venom takes to enact, but I'm pretty sure I could like, destroy it before I succumb to the wounds. But yeah, like, unless I was wearing like thick, like, maybe jeans might give me a moment, wearing jeans and like boots, but I said like street clothes, so I'm probably maybe jeans, but like running shoes, but I probably could bite right through like jeans or running shoes. Like, so yeah, you need boots. Boots would help, but also a stick or just a gun. Kangaroo 14%. And like, if you're thinking like a big boy kangaroo, I mean, they're pretty tough, but people kickbox kangaroos, but it seems like that's more a thing set up and not like the kangaroos actually out to kill you. Kangaroos out to kill you. Like, they might be able to just do it with a kick. You hear, and I've heard that they apparently can disembowel people. I mean, I definitely think I could like go in there and be a fight and drag it out, but yeah, I don't know. I need to learn a little bit more about species of kangaroos. I think red kangaroos are supposed to be the biggest. Those ones probably just knock my head right off. And I think even their forepaws, like, it's deceptive because their legs are so like big. Even like their forelimbs are actually decent. And then again, close and it's like, yeah, I could probably like inflict similar levels of damage I could inflict on a human. Well, the humans are pretty hard to beat that too. Wolf 12%. Like wolves are pretty big. Like even you go big dogs and go wolves. Like you see images like, oh, there's a big dog, and you see the wolf. Like I saw a video once, so I was like, oh, wolves are big, and they have far greater bite force than any other canine that currently on the earth. I mean, you have the dire wolf way back when that had just crazy bite force, but there aren't dire wolves around. Also, yeah, dire wolf probably kill me. Just from sheer badassness alone. So the one thing is like wolf maybe big enough they could go up and grab my throat. I mean, the only thing is that the wolf only has one real dangerous area, and that's the mouth. And yeah, like any part of me exists in his mouth, we'll call that done. That bite force is strong enough that like, yeah. And I think the difference between like dogs will kind of try to jump on you, maybe a wolf will try and jump on your throat. There's not much data on wolf attacks on humans because they don't really do it. So we don't know what the wolf's strategy is. Like the wolf is gonna, right? In the actual wild, the wolf wants to stay away from you. We don't really know what happens when a wolf attacks a human, unless it's like there's a Terry Pratchett novel where they joke about it. It's like, yeah, you never hear about wolf attacks on humans, and the guy's like, yeah, you never hear about it because no one ever comes back alive. I mean, again, it's unlikely. It's more like if you already died in the wild or like fallen and were dying slowly, the wolf might just finish you off. But we do know at least like when they, hunt, right? They're not, felines tend to go, like big cats will go for the throat in a sort of strangling move, while wolves will just, A, it's a pack attack, but also for big game, right? Like deer and elk, is they'll go for the legs and their belly. So if the wolf like takes out my leg, then it can get me on the ground, then it can finish me. But if I can take out its legs, then I can finish it. So, I mean, slight advantage to the wolf, but I think I could still make a good fight of it. And in the book of Outlander, Claire killed a wolf with her bare hands. It was starving, but she was also like a skinny woman. 9% versus a crocodile. And the thing is, like, yeah, Steve Irwin wrestled crocs. He even wrestled some impressively big crocodiles, right? Because you get, like, I think, depending on the species, you get anywhere from, like, 10 to 20 feet long. And there's been, like, record holders of plus 30 feet. But, so, like, saltwater crocodile is the biggest crocodile that exists on the earth today. Those are some big boys. And the main thing is just, like, okay, back to our cage match, right? Because in the water, it has all the advantages. I won't even see it coming before it pulls me under. But cage match, like, they're not helpless on land. They're definitely less dangerous, but still dangerous. And obviously, I'm not going to just provide a pond environment for it to help fight me. That seems unfair. I mean, the crocodile would think it's fair, but that's because it has an advantage. No, equal ground. But they can still move on land. And and again, it's a fight. I'm not trying to get away. Yeah. Well, so apparently they can motor. But I want to get in there. Okay, like maybe I can get on its back and wrestle it. And maybe I can hold the jaws closed, but like, they roll. It'll roll until I'm off its back. And it's also got the tail. Maybe the tail can't like kill me, but I'm pretty sure it can hurt me pretty bad. And like, I don't see a scenario where I'm actually able to because also they're covered in armored scales. Like I can hit it all day long, and it's not gonna do a darn thing. So unless I'm able to like gouge its eyes out, that's like the only move. Sensei's death joke that like he could like try a King Kong with the sideways motion of the jaw. I don't know that because right, they have the incredible bite force going down, but they don't have the opening strength. So like I could hold it closed with one hand. But like maybe the sideways? We don't know. I don't want to know. Like part of me does, but I also don't want like crocodiles tortured and murdered just to find out if I could like sideways like break its jaws open, or again like, well yeah, I could probably open its jaw. No, because I can't open its jaws. No, I couldn't pull them open. And I don't really see if I could really get like the grip in there, or the rear naked choke it and shingle, right? Because you have to either basically beat it or throttle to death. They're too well armored to throttle. Maybe you got eyes out. Well, great. It's still not dead. Like I'm taking, like, even on land, I think it could take me. Gorilla 8%. Like, who thinks they could beat up a gorilla? Okay, they are big, just covered in muscle. Like, it was just, like, yeah, again, it's all the problems with chimpanzee, but worse, because it's bigger. Like, the only advantage in real life is they're rather gentle creatures, and just like eating like, they eat plants, and they're pretty chill. So you could, like, if you encounter one in the jungle, I mean, you could make, like, right, you either make peace with them, or like they'll charge you and you kind of can bluff them out, stand the ground, and then they'll like, yeah, so you could work with the psychology of the gorilla. But again, in a cage match, I don't know how much of the psychology is gonna work here. Like, if you can really psych it out to kick the win, and like they're just covered in muscle. Like they do this because they actually have like extra stuff here to beat again. So like body blow's not gonna work. Yeah, thick skulls. Like, I mean, if you saw the animated Tarzan film, he was able to strangle Kojak. But again, like, Tarzan is just such a Mary Sue character and had all the strengths of growing up in the jungle. I am not as strong as Tarzan. Okay, I doubt, like, if I go get its back, it's just gonna like pull me off, throw me against the ground, smash me, and like just destroy me. Plus the teeth. It's also, again, it's just a chimp. It's just a more strong version of the chimpanzee. Whereas a chimpanzee, I'm dead. Gorillas like would break me in half or bite me. Like, yeah, I'm at the gorilla's mercy. Elephant. Plain and simple. There's nothing I can do. My buddy jokes like he'll hook the elephant. I don't even think you could actually make its leg move against its will in that capacity. They're too big. Their skin is too thick. There is nothing with my bare hands that I can do to defeat it. I can't choke it. Like, even if I got up on its back, my arm would not fit around its neck. Like, I can't, there's nothing I can reach. I don't think you can really reach their eyes. And also their eyes are close to like the trunk and the tusks, which is danger zone, where like you can beat you aside. Like, at best is I can maneuver around to stay alive as long as possible if there's like rounds in this fight. But I don't think it is, because we're like death matching here. And all it has to do is like step on me. It could knock me over with his butt and then just step on me. Like, guys, there's the tusks, like grab me and throw me around with the trunk. I'm done. Like, and again, it's basically punching a tank. Like, there is no way for me to hurt it. Like, if I snuck up on an elephant to sleep and I didn't bring a weapon, there is zero I can do. Except for maybe like jam my fingers into its eyes. But I feel like before I really get the good eye gouge in, I've just woken it up, made it mad, and it's gonna grab the trunk and beaten to death. With my own body. Or the ground. Both. The lion, again, 8%. Like, who are these people? Other than the typical, like, yeah, brother, I could fight any animal. I could take them all on. No, not like like, I'll take on any animal, anytime, anywhere, and anyone. I am the ultimate dude. Like, we actually have video of like 3 or 4 big weightlifting strong men holding her up, and then it pans, and there's an enclosure, and there's like a small hole just enough for the rope, and there's one female lion and playing tug of war with them, and she's winning. And there's like, she's like, it's a bit of advantage when with the lower center of gravity and all fours, but still, like, I play tug of war with dogs, and yeah, like, you know, like a good sized dogs, or at least medium sized dogs, I can just pull right off the ground. Even with like the lower center of gravity able to base themselves and pull down, like, I just, like, because I'm stronger and I'm heavier, I pull them right off the ground. So Mama Lion was pulling these dudes down. So yeah, they got strength. You know how cats, I said, right, everything on them is sharp? Lions have that. The one like thing is, if I could somehow get on its back and like get my hooks in with my heels and get my arm around its throat, right? Rear naked choke was called a lion killer choke. I do wonder how many people actually successfully did that, or try, or like, or is it like, because there's a lot of things in martial arts where like, you kind of like, guys sit around and think, like, yeah, that would work. Like, you see self-defense videos and people just sitting around thinking like, oh, that would totally work. Yeah. It's like, think of some technique and it like sounds really cool, or it seems effective, but no one like goes out and does it. So I do want the record of how many people, or even like think, like, so you think like, and I've definitely thought many times before, mostly I think about cougars, like pumas, and I'm like, yeah, if I could get on a puma's back, I could throttle it, and honestly, like, they're smaller, they're weaker, I could take it. Like, oh, I'm taking some hits, I'm taking damage, I'm not coming out of this unscathed. But I could, like, I feel like there's a chance. I have a chance of winning against a puma. Call it 50-50 odds. Especially because they're ambush predators, so in an actual wild encounter, they would be, once the ambush jig is up, they'd just run off. So cougars, like, you drop off. But again, like, fights to death, like, I feel like it's jingling. Like, lions just, like, so much bigger. Like, it's actually kind of hard to grasp how big they really are. Like, yeah, tigers are bigger still, but like lions are still pretty freaking big, and like a male lion has the mane, which makes it really hard to strangle. Which again, with like the whole, where did this idea come from? Like, rear naked choke. I don't know if I could fit a lion neck in there. Like, no, that's, I don't know. Question for viewers: when you rear naked choke people, do you use your dominant arm as like around the throat, or do you use your non-dominant arm and then like the dominant arm to grip the back of the head? Or do you practice both? I probably just practice both. But yeah, so lions got like, the bite could take you out, the claws can cut you up, and then they also like got the paw swipe. So they could just beat you to death with the paw swipe. Like, I don't know if like, if they just kept hitting you with that, probably enough damage to die. I'm not a doctor, but definitely like could beat you up just with the force of the blows alone. Would be quite the beating. And also like lions, because they live in prides, have to hunt more often, so they have like fighting experience. I saw on Animal Planet when they did lion versus tiger, and they're hypothetical, like, who would win in a fight? What was that show? Whatever, it was a good show. So yeah, lion, I'm like, again, female lion, if I magically end up at the back, but like the amount of work I'm doing to get on its back, I feel like I don't have much of a chance of getting there. And then the 6% with the grizzly bear. And it's just the worst of all worlds. It's sort of like if you combined the problems of the lion and then the problems of the elephant. Because I could conceive of a world where I could damage a lion, where I could hit it and it would hurt it. Maybe not enough to stop it. Probably not enough to stop it unless, again, I'm able to strangle it. But like, I could conceive of like really generating a powerful kick and hitting the lion and it like losing a few HP. Lions, yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm like, bears are furry tanks. Like, yeah, black bears will just run away, but if you, like, again, in a cage match, like, it's still a freaking bear. Like, that's actually still, there's not much you can do. Grizzly bears, I mean, the early explorers wrote about grizzly bears like these crazy predators. They're like, what are these things? The term bear is come like in several different cultures. We have lost their original word for bear, including whatever language English stole the word bear from, because that's how the English language was created, was just by we robbed every other language of words. We're like, this word sounds nice, let's take it. Let's take this grammar system. Yeah. No, I know for a fact in several First Nations cultures, at least one or two, and the Norse, I know, so I definitely know for the Norse, is that they wouldn't use the original word for bear because they feared it was sort of like speak of the devil. Sorry, I itch. Speak of the devil and he may appear, or he will appear. That if you say the proper name of something, you will summon it, or at least like risk it being summoned. The bear will like, here, its ears will burn, and then it'll come to investigate. And they were like, we do not mess with bears. So they'd give them like nicknames, like the brown one, or honey eater. Beowulf comes from a term for Beowulf, which means bear. Bjorn, I think, comes from like brown, which is also just a term for bear. Again, technically these words mean bear, but they really mean their literal translations are nicknames for bears. Because people running around with medieval weaponry and strange weaponry, but still like spears, still people who be like, yeah, we could take out deer, moose, all these things. We're like, we do not mess with bears. People like with similar level of technology, Maasai boys apparently would run around with spears and hunt lions all the time. Just what they did, as far as I know. If any Maasai experts are watching this video, feel free to correct me. That's just my base knowledge, my very limited knowledge on that subject, mainly from movies. I know I'm saying I'm a lot. Yeah, grizzly bear, like, yeah, several different cultures that have encountered grizzly bears or similar creatures are all terrified of them for good reason. They are the size of a house, like not literally, maybe mine, but like they're massive. Like, I pull a dinner plate, that's the size of its paw. You can rip you to shreds. Like, they just need one bite to bite off my head. Like, the amount of damage they could do is devastating. Just how, like, yeah, it's like if the grizzly bear tries not to finish you off, then, like, yeah, if you fight with the grizzly bear, you live because the bear didn't want to kill you. The bear chose not to kill you. That's how people survive grizzly bear attacks, is from the mercy of the bears. So one advantage, that's the one thing about grizzly bears, is they are merciful. Mostly. I do not know the statistics on grizzly bear mercy. Someone go find that out for me before I have to Google how merciful are grizzly bears on a statistical basis. But like, even that 6%, those people are just talking, they're just talking. They're just like talking smack. They're really dumb, or they're insane. Because it is so much offensive power. They are the genius bruiser. Like, they can bite hard, they can hit hard. Like, the swipe of its paw will boom, just knock you right down, and like, doesn't need to hit you that many times where you're just breaking stuff inside of you. You know, like these giant claws that cut, like, just rip you to pieces, just tear you to shreds, because they're both like wide and large, but also still sharp enough, and they'll go deep into you. They're ridiculously fast. They can outrun a horse. Like, there's no like boxing the bear. Like, you can't. The bear paw swipe is gonna come down too fast for you to dodge that. And then, but say again, the bear fell asleep in the cage. I can't do a darn thing to hurt it. This is again a punch in the tank, but this one's just covered in fur. Like, their skulls slope, so you can shoot one in the head, and I mean, it depends what caliber you're using, but like, will still deflect the bullet. If you shoot one in the forehead, the bullets will fucked up. You shoot me in the forehead, the bullet will go through. Like, unless it's just a really low grain, really weak bullet shot. Yes. Bullet will go through my forehead. They have a sloped, thick skull. So I shoot them with a rifle. Like, I don't know if it's like what level of rifle I need to penetrate that, but I do know certain calibers of bullets will just deflect up. Like, it's a thing immune to headshots. And that is crazy. Like, they're crazy. And again, like, they're massive. So if I jump on its back, like, I can't reach my arm all the way. I don't think I could even reach both arms all the way around to successfully strangle it. Even if I try like a grip, like a seatbelt grip. And like, maybe this would be wide enough. But meanwhile, I gotta deal with the fact that I'm riding a bear. I also have to get up there in the first place. And that's, no, you're done. They hit you, they bite you, you're done. So in conclusion, those are my thoughts on what animals I think I could take in a fight. With, like, again, in a cage match, unarmed, because there's definitely like other scenarios, like in the wild I would avoid any of the like actual real life wild confrontations. I would definitely avoid fighting them if I could, you know, if there was a chance for me to get out of there, if it was advisable to run, or if like grizzly bears is you play dead. To do anything to not provoke the situation, to get out of there without violence would be ideal. I would rather not hurt most animals unless I really had to for whatever reason. And go be kind. So after all that, my message is be kind to animals.